Hello there, Scapers. My name is Xenavilius, and you might be pleased to hear that I'm not dead. I may not have uploaded for 2 whole years now, but don't worry, I'm still here, I'm still alive, and I'm well given the circumstances. It's been a difficult year for everyone, with Corona basically writing off 2020 entirely, and so many people's livelihoods have been lost. But I am very grateful that I've kept my job. It's been a long, hard year for everyone, but it's almost over. The vaccine is almost in sight, and hopefully better things to come in 2021. But anyway, what I really wanted to talk about was what I've been doing over the past 2 years. So as I mentioned just before I left YouTube, basically around the time that I created my last video was when I started my brand new job. It's been 2 years now that I've been in that job, but it was a very high responsibility job, and I basically wanted to focus on that. I didn't entirely want to quit videos, but as a byproduct of my career and my life taking shape, YouTube had to be put on hold, and so did RS. Since then I played some RS, I'm not going to lie to you. I think early 2019 I played quite a bit of RS, but I just didn't have the motivation to make any videos, and I stopped playing in about April 2019, so all the footage you see now is between the time that I released my previous video and the time that I quit RS around mid 2019. I also came on very briefly in March this year just for the release of Archaeology. The reason I really quit was not because I didn't like RS or anything like that. Like I said, it was because of my life taking a different path, but also my interests going elsewhere. So along with starting that job 2 years ago, I moved to a new place. I had a few new things that I had to do, a few new responsibilities and so on. So, that all just came to a head, and it resulted in RS taking a back seat. And gaming in general taking a back seat, to be honest. I didn't play any games at all throughout the entirety of 2019 and the first quarter of 2020. But then when lockdown started for a lot of us in Europe in March 2020, that's when I had nothing else to do and I went to gaming. So a lot of my friends always kept accusing me, if that's even the right term, but accusing me of basically not playing any games except RS, because I was just so engrossed in RS and videos and all these goals that I had to achieve. But then once I got trim and achieved a lot of the goals I wanted in the game, despite me creating these new goals for myself, I just sort of got burnt out, and I wanted to explore the other side of gaming that I'd not touched since my teens, basically. So I started playing games for enjoyment, basically, to keep me going in lockdown. It was a pretty depressing time, to be honest, in March, April, May of this year. And gaming kept me going, not gonna lie. I played a lot of different types of games. I started off with Half-Life 1. Finished that, took me about a couple of weeks to finish that. Just realised how bad I was at FPS games. And then I've also been playing a lot of Rocket League, just with some friends of mine. That's been a social game, basically, to keep in touch with my friends. And then I started playing The Last of Us. So I borrowed my friend's PS4 to play The Last of Us 1, because it was one of the games that I've always wanted to play ever since it won all those awards in 2013. And I've always been into that genre where I play a game not just for the fun of it or killing people or headshots or, the gory side of it, but also the storyline. So being able to control a character and go through their journey in the game is something I've always been interested in, and The Last of Us Part 1 was one of the best games I've played, to be honest, and it really got me into that genre of story-based games, third-person shooters, where you basically walk through a character's journey in a dystopian world with all these different types of entities to contend with, emotions, conflicting emotions in many cases, and empathizing with the characters. Having played this game, I can say that it was one of the best games I've played, and as soon as I finished that, I also played Part 2. Now this may be a bit of an unpopular opinion, guys, but I really enjoyed The Last of Us Part 2. I think it was incredibly well made. Yes, there were a couple of plot ideas or storyline decisions that were made by Naughty Dog that were a bit contentious. You either liked it or you didn't, and to be honest, I did like it. I don't want to spoil anything for any of you who haven't played those games, but essentially the game was the subject of review bombing and a social media rage campaign because of some leaks that were released. But to be honest, I think the game was an absolute masterpiece. It really deserved all the awards that it won, and it just took the universe and the story of The Last of Us Part 1 into a different level entirely. Completely different level. And I'm looking forward to part 3. But yeah, since then I've also been playing a lot of role-playing games, not RS related, not MMORPGs, but just RPGs in general, GTA Online, and now Cyberpunk 2077 is what I'm playing. And it's what I've been looking forward to for the past month or so, since I started researching a bit more about it and getting hyped, basically jumping on the hype train. So it started in November, I'd say, where I came to know about the game, the requirements, how it's going to be the best game of 2020, the most anticipated game of the past 5 years at least. And I began to upgrade my PC. So I released a video on this channel about 5 years ago where I built my own PC with the help of Canman. Well, to be honest, he built it for me and I was just spectating and helping out and trying to soak it all in. But that PC I hadn't upgraded for 5 years. So I wanted to upgrade it, just the parts that would make it easier to play Cyberpunk. Not everything, so obviously the GPU, it was a GTX 970, so I thought it was a pretty good time to upgrade it to an RTX 3070, so a big upgrade there, and I managed to do that. I also upgraded my SSD to be one of those new types, the NVMe M2 types. And I also upgraded some of the fans that were being pretty noisy and just wobbling on their axes. So I wanted to upgrade that as well. So I managed to do that. It cost me a lot of money, but as you can see in from the picture in the background, I managed to do it and it was thoroughly worth it. So when Cyberpunk released, I started playing it non-stop, and I'm still playing it, and I've not been this engrossed in a game to the extent that I forget that it's a game and almost consider it like I'm living in it. It is so immersive, guys. Honestly, it's got a lot of bugs. I'm not going to go there. It's got some terrible bugs and issues for console players particularly, but the PC version is reasonable in terms of bugs. Apart from the bugs, the game itself is absolutely insane. It's lived up to all the hype in terms of immersion, storyline, graphics. Surprisingly, there's a lot of emotional aspects to it as well, but I've just been enjoying the whole game. The setting of Night City, the cyberware, the ability to do whatever the hell you want, basically. Do side quests, do the main storyline. I'm a big John Wick fan, so it was good to see Keanu Reeves in there, although he was meant to be some kind of construct in my brain. But anyway, enough rambling about Cyberpunk. What's the future hold? What does it hold? Well, you never know. To be honest, I'm not ruling out a return to RS at all. I would be lying if I said I quit RS entirely, because no one ever quits RS entirely. But for now, I think as long as I'm stuck at home, not able to do all the things, all the social things, all the sports that I used to do normally, I'm going to be gaming a lot. And right now my interest is completely in Cyberpunk. So I'm going to be making some videos on that. I've already made one on a brand new channel of mine. So if any of you are interested in seeing some more content of mine that isn't RS related, I'm not going to put it on this channel out of respect for you guys. I'm going to put it on my second channel. I've already released the videos. So yeah, if you are interested in following my journey from scratch in Cyberpunk and from scratch in YouTube as well, basically, then feel free to jump over there. As far as RS is concerned, like I said, I don't have plans to go back to it. Especially considering I'm going to have to spend a long time to get my trim back because of archaeology, the land out of time, the new boss Raksha, and all sorts of other updates that have been out in the last 2 years. But if we're still in lockdown and if the vaccine hasn't been rolled out to everyone by, say, March, so 1 year from the start of the previous lockdown, then you never know, I may lose interest in Cyberpunk and all these games and I may just come back to RS. I've still got a few things to do, the infamous Pernix Chaps, obviously the Insane Final Boss series, all sorts of goals that I've still got to finish. But yeah, let's see what the future holds. I hope you all stay safe because it's a very risky time for all the families out there with the mixing and the spread of the virus, certainly in the UK, going up and up. So I hope you all stay safe. Hope you all enjoy your gaming, whether it's RS or something else. I may create another video on this channel, you never know. But for now, I'd just like to say thank you to everyone who stuck by us, seen us through the highs and lows of this channel. I really do appreciate it, and I really hope that we can interact again in the future, whether it's in RS or otherwise. Hopefully I'll see some of you on my new channel, Xenavilius. The link is in the description. And yeah, take good care of yourselves. Have a very Merry Christmas, and I hope that we all have a much better 2021 than 2020.